Greetings, Team DPS. I'm Dr. Alex Marrero, proud superintendent of Denver Public Schools. Thank you for joining us today in this very special edition of the Marrero Moment. And as you can see, we're back in our studios, but you can also see that we have someone who's very important to our learning community, to Denver, I would say, nationally, but also a dear, dear colleague and friend, Mr. Bill Kurtz, the Chief Executive Officer for DSST Schools. Bill, thank you.
Oh, it's great to be here, Dr. Marrero.
Pleasure is all ours. It took a long time, but I finally was able to get you here.
A special edition, too.
It's a special edition.
A special edition.
Because of you. Because of you. I know a lot of folks who are out there know who you are, what DSST is, but no, this goes international, Bill, right? This is a big deal here. We'll get into that a little bit more. So as the leader of the largest charter school network in Denver, can you tell us how long you've been doing this work? And can you share how you started and where DSST is now? How's that as a start?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Oprah could not have done it better.
Oh, enough. We'll get to Oprah a little bit later.
Could not have done it better. Well, it's great to be here, first of all. I've loved being in Denver for the last 20 years. We started DSST 20 years ago, and it's been a joy and an honor and a privilege to serve the city, and now Aurora as well. We started, as you know, with one school, a high school, in DSST Montview High School with just 130 students in the 9th grade. And our goal was just to build one great high school to help redefine what we thought was the American high school experience, and to provide the opportunity for all kids to have the opportunity to go to college. And we believed it was possible. I think people thought we were crazy at the time when we said 100% of our kids will get accepted to four-year college. And we probably were a little bit crazy, but we knew when we looked in the eyes of our students that they could do it, that they had unlimited potential. As you know, genius is equally distributed in this world. Access is not. Yeah. And so we wanted to provide access for all of our students. And 4 years later, in 2008, a front page full story on the Rocky Mountain News, now the defunct Rocky Mountain News, we celebrated 100% of our seniors going to four-year college. That's right. And so it's been a great experience. And I've been blessed in the last 20 years to work in this city, to work with our young people, with our families, being a great partner, I think, with DPS, and DPS being a great partner for us. And together, I think we've done great things for the city.
Without a doubt. 20 years of what I would say picturesque way of collaborating. You mentioned crazy. I'm often referred to as crazy, and some of us embrace that because we get to use that as motivation, but also prove with the evidence. And then 2008, you were able to not only start that, but also continue that. So I want to thank you for 2 decades of that. And 20-year celebration. I hear that there's a celebration happening soon. I hope I get to the invitation.
We're considering the invitation. Okay. No, of course we want you there. We're going to have the superintendents of Aurora and Denver Public Schools there, because you've been great partners to us. So thank you, Dr. Marrero.
Terrific. So you spoke a little bit about the successes. I want to get into in terms of some strategies. You don't have to give the secret sauce. But if you want, there's some aspiring leaders who can benefit from it. What strategies have you implemented to effectively address the diverse needs of students, as you mentioned, in terms of access and needs, but also particularly those from marginalized communities, which I know is anchored in your philosophy in DSST, your board, ensuring that those students receive high quality education, which has been the plague in education, K-12, since the days of yore, meaning since the Jeffersonian model of education. And we haven't fixed it, but if we can point to some successes, you have that in your network.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. First of all, I think we have great humility about our work, and we're nowhere where we want to be right now in terms of accomplishing our goals for all of our kids. And our data says that, and I think we have a deep sense of responsibility and humility around that. And our team of 900 plus educators every day is working really hard to change that. So I just want to acknowledge that up front, and we owe it to our students and families across this city and Aurora to get better. And so they deserve us to get better. And I really hope that we will in the coming years, because that's really important. So, having said that, what's most important, I think, for us in terms of our success, I think it's 3 things. Number one It is a belief that all students are capable of learning at the highest levels and getting a world-class education. And if you don't have that belief, if you don't set a vision of what's possible with your students and families, you're never going to accomplish great things with them. The systemic realities of our society and our country are great. And if you're going to break through those realities, if you're going to help our young people become their best selves, you have to have a vision with them that they can do anything and that they can achieve greatness in their K-12 education and then go on to college. We believe every child in this city should have the choice of going to college. Yeah. We believe it. The data is unequivocal in the benefit of going to college. Doesn't mean it's the perfect path for every student, but they should have the choice. And so that's number one. Number two, it's about building deeply strong, rooted communities in our values where our students belong. And we believe that our young people are beautifully made. We believe our young people have unlimited potential, but they need to experience that in a community which shares a set of values, which shares success across the community, where the success of all is as important as the success of one, and where we have a common goal together to help create a community of belonging where every student can walk in the morning and feel like they're home. And so I think that has been an important part of the DSST experience. High expectations, community of support, and then lastly, you have to implement our work excellently every day. We have to be extraordinary. The problem in this country in public education is not our students, it's not our families, it is our effectiveness as educators, and we have to do better. And so we believe deeply that it is our job and our responsibility every day to be extraordinarily excellent in executing our curriculums, our classroom approaches, our school community approach. Excellent execution is what leads to great schools. And so those are probably the three founding kind of pillars of our success. And then the last one, which is where I started, is you have to have a deep humility as adults that we are still on the learning path. Yeah. And DSST, I think, has always had a sense of humility about our work and understanding that we are learning alongside of our students, and it is our job every day to learn how to do our work better, like we're asking them to learn math, reading, science. And I think in many ways the challenge of American public education is the adults in the system sometimes stop learning at the same rate that the students are. And we have to embrace learning and commit to that. And I think we've had hopefully an insatiable desire to get better every day for our students.
Yeah, well, thank you. Part of the recipe there. In terms of us as learners, I know that you're familiar with our roadmap, our adult experiences, and also our new vision, Every Learner Thrives. That means you, that means us, right? So to our educators out there, we're looking to support you all, but I love how you phrase it in a very bold way. Our students have never been the issue, right? It's yes, the system, but also how we respond. So belief, tener ganas, right? But also high expectations and being on the daily grind. And also a certain extent of flexibility. So if I can, as a charter network and your initial charter school, there was some flexibilities granted. So in curriculum, teaching methods as an example, can you discuss or share specific innovative programs, approaches that you've implemented in your schools that have shown promising results related to, let's say, student engagement, academic achievement, or just how it's allowed you to continue in those pillars that you just mentioned?
Yeah, no, I think based on those pillars, going one layer deeper, a couple practices that I think have always been really important to DSST. One is in our practice of community. We have morning meetings several times a week.
Participated, incredible.
Yep, and I don't know how you, in my opinion, operate a school community without some gathering in community on a regular basis. To build the community, and so that is a practice where I think kids come into our morning meetings and they feel a sense of home. They're part of something larger than themselves, and so there's that feeling of belonging. At the same time, much of the content of those meetings, either led by students, teachers, leaders, is about inspiring ourselves towards those greater goals. And so I think morning meetings are an essential part of building strong communities of belonging and expectation. That would be one. I think a second piece has always been around data. And you can't, as educators, hold yourself accountable like we hold our students accountable unless there is true data where we embrace what that data shares and what it shares about our students' learning and how we as educators can get better. We have no problem giving students quizzes, tests, assessments to help
Passing
them
judgment,
understand
right? Yep.
how they're growing and learning. And oftentimes we look at those and say, well, that's about their student learning and how they're doing. No, 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 no. In the end, it's about how we as educators are teaching and our effectiveness. And so we've always believed that data drives excellence, drives accountability for us, and creates opportunity for us to get better every day. And with that data, you can get into a place where you can explore where we have to serve our students better. And all the way down to the standard level, all the way down to the smallest skills, I believe that a great education is not built by some sweeping set of ideas and standards. Ideas are super important and they inspire us, but we have to get down to the level of how do we help young people do the kinds of things that build learning and understanding in key areas across our curriculums that start with finite skills and we build them. And so I think data has been a key part of our process. And then lastly, I think we have an exceptional college team. And those teams are in all of our schools, all 7 of our high schools. And I think we are exceptionally good. I mean, last year we led the state in FAFSA completion, for example. 5 out of 6 of the top high schools in the state of Colorado in FAFSA completion were our schools. We have an exceptional team that helps our young people explore that next step, provides them the resources and the support to do that, and helps them set their sights. And as you know, what happens when you do that is that kids go to college. And there's just all this myth around like, oh, well, if, not every kid should go to college and all the rest of it. Well, as it turns out, if we give our young people the opportunity, the access, and the tools to make a choice post-secondary, they're going to make the right choice, just like all of us in privilege do when we send our own kids to college. They make the same choice because they know that it's a great opportunity for them. And so our college team is exceptional at providing one-on-one counseling, ensuring all of our kids have that choice.
Yeah. Just want to highlight the track record that you all have had in the last couple of decades at all levels, but in particular, one glaring highlight has been the college acceptances, but also how students are prepared in their post-secondary journey, right? I have it in my travels, and now I can say it's across the nation. And I've visited some international systems that are always ranked top PISA. We can look them up, we know who they are. And although they have great strategies, no one has really figured it out, right? And I see you all as a network that has done that exceptionally well, right? So if college is your desire, or if you're going to create that opportunity to make a choice, you all offer it. And to your point, more times than not, they make that same decision. The community, if I can just share a little bit, transformational experience, I'm sure for the students, also a beautiful experience for me, also brought me back to my days of being a leader, a school building leader. What better way to engage, right? To make sure that everyone is on the same page, quite frankly. And literally, it's more of a let's get going to today, back to the energy needed for that daily grind.
Yeah, let's be honest. You and I know the best and most impactful job in education, in my opinion, is a school principal.
Without a doubt.
And it was my greatest joy in life, and the impact that a school leader has on a community and a group of students is exceptional. And so I honor our principals. It's a difficult, challenging job, but it is also the most rewarding and impactful job you can have.
Without a doubt. Middle part, data. This is a saying that a great professor once told me, and you may say, professor, too colloquial. If it's not in the data, it doesn't matter. Right, so the fact that you can, the professor did it.
Spin in a rap or two here,
east,
Dr. Marrero.
That's what happens in the Ivies out
east. All right, spin in a rap.
But back to community. You also have an incredible community gathering towards the end of the year, it's more of a celebration. I haven't seen
Yes.
anything like that.
Yes.
Tell the folks what I'm referring to. You shut down Denver, you shut down the Coliseum. There's a whole bunch of celebration. There's dignitaries. There's some folks that sit in the nosebleed sections that get invited, right?
Yeah.
But we appreciate it, right? What am I referring to?
Yeah,
what do we call
you're
this?
talking about our senior signing
That's
day,
what we're
and
talking
it's really
about.
built on the whole idea that as a society, we value what we celebrate. And, most of the time we're celebrating our young people getting college athletic scholarships, and there's signing ceremonies across the country, which and
Yep.
I believe deeply in athletics, and I think those are incredibly important experiences, and we should celebrate our athletes for sure. But let's be honest, the most important thing is that we celebrate our kids going to college. And so we said, hey, we value what we celebrate. Let's do the biggest, best celebration in the state of Colorado, celebrating our seniors' incredible journey in getting into college. And so we have 10,000 people show up at the Coliseum. Every single one of our students, our families, many of our families are there. It is the most joyful, energetic,
Truly.
best celebration, in my opinion, in the state of Colorado, celebrating students.
Yeah.
And on that stage, every single one of our seniors, 700 plus, announce where they're going to college. And it is 2.5 hours, as you know, of just incredible,
Celebration.
joyful energy. And
Remarkable.
And so we love that. And the biggest impact of that is actually on our sixth graders. Because our sixth graders go to that and they go, I can see myself. My own daughter went through this. I can see myself on that stage. And when I go visit our schools, that's all our young people want to talk about. Is like, someday I'm going to be on that stage.
Yeah.
Someday in front of 10,000 people, I'm going to be announcing where I'm going to college. And it's such an inspiration for them, and it incentivizes them to do the hard work to get there. And so that's, I think, as much an impact as anything else. And of course, our seniors remember it for their lifetimes.
For sure.
But boy, I love the impact it has on sixth graders.
Remarkable event. Takes innovative leadership to even fathom the idea, but then to execute it so perfectly year after year. You mentioned at the top of this engagement. Whatever we're going to call this has become one of the best conversations I've had about the partnership that we have. Can you share?
This is a network busting show. Come on,
Well,
Dr.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to
Yeah,
ask you one
yeah,
tough question
yeah,
at the
yeah,
end. These
yeah,
are
yeah,
easy
yeah.
ones. The tough one, well, this
Yeah.
is an easy one as well.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the partnership that DSST has had with DPS throughout the years?
Yeah, no, I believe that chartered schools, innovation schools, district schools, we all work together for one end, which is to serve the city that we're in and the students and families that live here. And so it has been such an important part of DSST from the very beginning that we partner with DPS and now APS to serve the city. And we all are trying to do the same thing, which is to serve our students and families with as best as possible, and to do it with the best schools that we can put in those communities. And ultimately, our measure should be: are we providing each community with a top school? And whether that's a charter school, an innovation school, a district school, should not matter. What matters is that our tax dollars, because all of our tax dollars go to the same thing to support all three of those schools, that we are providing our community what we promised, and that we should commit to do that together, and to do that agnostic of what governance type you are in. Because most importantly to a family is not if it's a charter, innovation, or district school. What's most important is, do they have a great school in their community? And so we have loved that partnership. DSST grew up at the invitation of the district. The district invited us to open schools and communities. We worked with communities to open schools. And I think, I think that's the way it should be. And it's so important that we continue to do that, because ultimately a child's education is far more important than any adult conversation about governance type or anything else. What's most important is that we're providing a world-class education for our kids and families in Denver.
Agreed. That's student experience. Let's look ahead. So looking ahead, what initiatives or changes do you envision in education as a whole? So the future of education, specifically within the charter sector, and how do you plan to lead your schools in adapting their emerging educational trends and student needs as we still have a tremendous amount, especially as of late for those of us who've those welcoming cities like Denver has been.
Yeah, this may not be a really exciting answer, but I think ultimately the innovation of the future is how do we do two things. One is how do we build greater communities of belonging in our schools. We have a mental health crisis with our young people. We need to recommit to building strong, inclusive communities of belonging. We aren't going to out-social work this problem. Social workers are super important,
Yeah.
but we have to create communities
Yeah.
where our peers are supporting each other and where we are actually building these communities where students belong and are healthy and thriving. And so things like we got to get rid of cell phones in classrooms. I mean, we got to get rid of cell phones in schools. We got to do the kinds of things as adults to ensure that we can create these safe communities of belonging. So that's number one. Number two, we just have to get dogged at trying to solve the achievement gaps that we see in our city.
They've been persistent.
And we have to, I mean, we have to get back to high rigorous curriculums that are high expectation, where we are using data and we are looking at kids and saying we believe you can get to grade level and then beyond. And we all have a lot to do on that front, and so I think we should stop trying to be innovative around all these cool things that may get newspaper articles and all the rest of it, and we got to get innovative on how do we teach our young people how to read and compute math and have a foundation of science and history and the arts in ways that truly give them the skills that they need, and we're not succeeding at that right now. So in my mind, innovation is solving that problem, not trying to create some new fancy program that ignores the core of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, well, I think that was a very spicy response. Sometimes we, as educators, are looking for the next big thing, shiny. Also, we hear a lot of folks who are experimenting, but we have yet to really solve that issue. And the needs are expanding, right? So innovation can happen, as you know, in every classroom. We just need to create the systems to encourage that, but also to maintain that. And I believe you have throughout the years. So Bill, we're getting closer to the end here. I hate to bring that to you. I know that's devastating news.
I mean, Alex, we should do this for another hour or two.
We
I
should.
think.
I don't know how long we went, but we went for a good amount. And I want to thank you for coming in and some of the questions asked in terms of where you're headed. I want to also thank you on your retirement. Thank you for your service.
I'm not retiring. There's going to be another act. I'm just not sure what it's going to be yet.
Well, that's why I want to encourage you to make sure you don't leave education. We need you deeply, right?
Thank you.
So
Thank
we need you deeply. Someone who's going to call it like it is, but also point to success and not be afraid to roll up their sleeves. I've been in a lot of your schools, and I've seen how you engage with the students, and you call them by name and you say, hey, tell the superintendent about X, Y, Z. So that, to me, not only is that inspiring, it shows how we can still have our roles but still be connected deeply. So I admire you as a leader. I just need to say that. I know you know that, right? I don't want to make you feel awkward. But I have one last question. I know that DSST has been highlighted at Oprah, the Oprah show. So I want you to go back and reflect on that moment, right? And I believe it's even in the museums, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the situation. So the spring before, we had the opportunity, DSST Montview, our first high school, had the opportunity to be in President Obama's first commencement challenge, where he said to the nation, I will go speak at a public high school. We're going to create a contest. And so we submitted our materials, and we were chosen to be in the top 6, which then the country voted on between 6 and 3, and we actually made the top 3. The country voted us in the top 3, and ultimately he chose Kalamazoo High School, I think, and that was fine. And we thought that was the greatest thing that ever happened to us. We were like, wow, this is incredible. We almost won President Obama's first commencement challenge. Well, little did we know, 3 months later, Oprah invited us onto her show.
Awesome.
And I'm not a pop culture guy. My team laughs at me all the time. I have no idea. So I was like, oh, okay, this is Oprah. This is great. We'll go get interviewed and be fine. Little did I know that was that was the biggest moment in our history from a awareness perspective. Little did I know that Oprah is far more powerful, than President Obama.
Oh.
Far more. Her reach is far wider. I have had more people in the last 14 years ask me about Oprah than anything else. And my pop culture knowledge went up a lot because we were on her show. She was gracious enough to give us $1 million to help us open our GVR high school.
That's right. Wow. Wow.
And it was such a gift, and her reach is so far.
Truly.
It's incredible.
But I want to ask you a question there. So you have Obama, let's say, around here, Oprah, as you described, up here. This Marrero moment, where does it rank? It has to be well beyond.
I can't. Some things you can't even quantify. Some things you can't even quantify. So you put Obama here, you put Oprah here, and Dr. Marrero.
And this Marrero moment, all the way up there.
Stratosphere. I have a feeling the internet's going to get broken on this
for
video.
Sure. When we release
Twitter's
this,
going to Twitter, what would be X, whatever it is. I have a feeling, this is going to launch me into a whole new career after this.
You don't have to worry about it. Just stay in education after this.
Right.
Because you're going to get a lot of offers after this.
Oprah's got nothing on you, Dr. Marrero.
Nothing. With all due
nothing.
respect, former president, and of course, Oprah, he's made it to the Marrero moment. And I want to thank you deeply. I want to thank everyone in DPS, the entire community, for joining us for this very special edition of the Marrero moment.